With MLB The Show 24 just a couple of nights away, I want to make a full guide, beginner's guide to Diamond Dynasty. There's a lot of stuff that goes on in Diamond Dynasty, a lot of stuff that people need to learn, or maybe they just don't know, or maybe it's even their first time getting in Diamond Dynasty. So I want to make an extensive list over everything that I think will help you guys out. I've been doing this for a very long time. I know the ins and outs of Diamond Dynasty, so I think this will help you guys out tremendously. All I ask, if this does help you guys out, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and hit the like button because it helps me out tremendously. If you guys want to leave a comment down below, that would be awesome as well. Without further ado, let's get right into it. So we are going to pretend that this is MLB The Show 24. Obviously, this is 23, but we don't have 24 yet, so we're going to use this as our little base. So one thing right away as you guys get into the game, there's going to be this little cog up here in the settings tab. I'm not going to go over that in this video. I will have a full video on what settings you guys should be using, but I want to make note that that is in the top right corner for you guys. But without further ado, we're going to be playing Diamond Dynasty. As you guys know, this is what you guys came here to see. So when you guys first get into Diamond Dynasty on opening night, there will be these little moments you guys will complete. They'll have like, you do like a little collection and whatnot. To actually get into Diamond Dynasty, it'll probably take you 5 to 10 minutes to do. They're super easy, kind of give you a little bit of insight on what to do in Diamond Dynasty. The first page we are greeted with is the Home tab. Now again, we don't know what it'll look like in 24, but this is what it looks like in 23, so we're going to base it off of that. So the Home tab has the Manage Squad screen. So this is where essentially you're going to build your entire Diamond Dynasty team. Now you have all these different positions, obviously on the baseball field, catcher, first base, second base, and whatnot. Also, again, we have the DH, which is very nice. But this is where you guys can put in any card you guys end up earning throughout MLB The Show 24. Now, obviously, I have all 99s in this one, but thankfully in MLB The Show 24, they did say we're going to have the power creep back, so we will be back to a really, really good little creep that, you know, we could use cards that aren't all 99s off the rip, because I think that was a horrible thing for 23. But this is where you guys will build your squad. You guys look at it, you get a bench, obviously, as well. You have all your starting pitchers, and you have your bullpen. One thing I want to show as well is there are captains in MLB The Show 24, like we had in 23. So if you go onto this player card right here, there are certain cards that will be labeled as captains. This one was a gold captain boost. There are a ton of different ones. We're going to have a bunch of them in 24. But essentially, if you use certain cards, it'll help make your team even better. So I have the tier 3 boost for all my gold squad right here. So if you look at that, you get plus 30 contact versus lefties, plus 25 power versus lefties, plus 25 batting clutch, and plus 25 contact versus righties, which essentially makes a lot of these gold cards high overall diamonds. You look at all their attributes right there in the middle of the squad. It looks pretty dang good. So make sure you guys are using captains. There were a handful of ones that were only really usable in 23, which hopefully they do change that for 24. Another thing I want to talk about when you're talking about your team or anything you guys are doing within each player is the parallel system. So if you guys were to parallel a card, you get a stat boost from that. So right now at parallel, I have him at parallel 5. So all of his attributes, if you see at the bottom right there, have a plus 5 active boost. So essentially, if you minus 5, that's what the regular parallel is, or there is no parallel. And you try to go from parallel 1 to parallel 5, and it shows you kind of the different times that people have done parallel 5 or paralleled all these different cards. Again, this is something that I know is going to be come back in 24, but it could be changed as well. But essentially what you do is you play online games and or offline games, and you do all these different little things like plate appearances, single, double, triple, all that stuff, and you get these PXP points. All those PXP points goes towards the parallel, and it makes all these cards better for you. All right, moving on, we have a customize tab. Now this is where you kind of make your uniforms, you do your team name. There's a bunch of stuff within this that you guys can do. I'm not going to go over most of this right here because it's kind of case-to-case basis how far you guys want to go into that. I'm sure there'll be a video about what you guys can do for customization, but that is where you go to upload your logos and all stuff. If you guys want to have those in Diamond Dynasty. Then we have the standing stats and history tab. The standings will show you guys the current season of ranked seasons. If you guys are into that kind of stuff, you guys play ranked seasons. There's all these different things to show you guys what rating you guys are set at. You also have co-op season as well, which hopefully co-op gets a big buff this year. I think it was a really, really cool thing, but obviously need to work on that quite a bit. You will also have the lifetime standings. So if you guys, a lot of people come to my stream and they're like, hey man, how do you see the BR lifetime standings? If you go ahead and press RB right here, it goes over to Battle Royale. You can go ahead and sort by wins. And then if you scroll down to number 6, you see Ray Cheesy 21, which is me. So that's cool, but that's where you guys can go look at your battle royale. I think there's some CPU stuff too if you guys want to do that as well. But this is pretty much where you can put all your standings. Go take a look at that. Kind of some cool things right there. There's a statistics tab. We don't really need to go over that. We have a game history tab. So any games that you guys do play, you guys can go back and look at who you guys played against and whatnot. And then lastly, you do have the Diamond Dynasty Handbook, which if you guys have not read this, I highly suggest you guys reading it. There's too much to go over in all this, but it makes a lot of stuff make sense that a lot of people don't understand as well. So please, if you guys want to, please check this out as well. I highly suggest you guys taking a look at this handbook. And then lastly on this tab, you have a player updates tab. This is where you'll find supercharged players, which if you guys have not used them, pretty much if anybody does really good in real life, they will supercharge them, make it a 99, make the card really good. So all these live series cards, so say you got Jonathan VR, we'll go with Cal Raleigh right there at catcher. Say he has a 3 home run performance, they'll boost his card all the way up to 99. It's a really cool feature. If you guys have not seen it, they'll have it a ton, especially in opening day. You'll also have this inside edge matchup rating. Essentially, it's if a pitcher's doing good against a hitter, they'll get a boost from whatever attributes they have, or if a hitter's doing good against a pitcher, then they'll get a boost. It kind of just depends. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it, but essentially you'll see an inside edge where a player's overall look higher than what it is. That means that there's an inside edge, and it can be lower as well. We also have roster updates, which there's a ton of roster updates. I think that they did them every 2 or 3 weeks. Roster updates weren't as good in 23, especially with there being no power creep. People don't really care about the roster updates, I felt like. But in 24, we have the power creep back, so hopefully roster updates will become a big thing again, because you can make a lot of subs off that, which I will have a video on as well. All right, we're going to tab over to the play tab, which this is probably the most extensive part of the video. This is what you guys came to see. So let's go over a lot of the stuff right here. So there will be a programs tab. Now, there were 3 different types of programs. They had season reward, XP path, they had team affinity, and other programs. This should be pretty similar in 24. Again, they haven't talked about this in Diamond Dynasty stream yet, so we'll figure out a little bit more, but it should be set up the exact same way. We'll have a reward path. If you guys see right here, essentially it's like a battle pass if you guys play Fortnite or any other game that has a battle pass, where essentially all you do is you just play the game. As long as you play the game, you get XP and you get to unlock all these different rewards. There are a ton of different things. This was the last one, so there's a ton of rewards in this one, but essentially you'll get a ton of player cards, you'll get stubs, you'll get packs. It's just a really good thing to do. And then at the end, there's this little XP wheel where if you guys do get to there, you get to roll and you get to get these different types of rewards as well. It's actually really cool. It's a really cool ad they did in 23. So that will be in 24 as well. Next, we'll have the Team Affinity tab, which will get a new update in 24. So what they did with Team Affinity is it used to be an entire program that would take however long to complete for an entire season. Now they're condensing it. They're making it 3 separate drops in 1 season. So we'll have a lot more Team Affinity, which is really cool. But essentially with Team Affinity, all you do is you go into whatever Team Affinity you're trying to get to. They will have all these moments. So moments are just like these little itty bitty moments you play to get something done. This one was when Rafael Devers hit a home run. All you do is hit the home run and you get the moment complete, and you get reward for that Team Affinity. There's different team build missions you can do, captain stat missions, retro missions. So there's just a bunch of missions you can do in order to get all the way up to 150,000 TA points. There's also vouchers you can exchange. There's collections you can do as well. There's a showdown, which I'll talk about showdown here in a little bit. But there's a lot of stuff you guys can do in order to get Team Affinity done. Highly suggest doing Team Affinity, especially within 24, because these cards should theoretically be the best cards at the launch of when they come out, which is a good thing because they weren't last year and it's a waste of time. But in 24, it should be a really good thing. But Team Affinity is always a really fun thing to do, and we're gonna have a ton more of it. I think we had what was that, 5 of them in this year, and the next one we should have like 9, I think it is. So there should be a lot more of those as well. So make sure you guys are doing your Team Affinity. And then lastly, we have a thing called other programs. This is where it didn't fit in with the season reward path and or Team Affinity. Let's just go to postseason. So obviously the postseason program has to do with the postseason, what happened in MLB. Again, it's going to be a bunch of stuff where you guys do moments, you do a bunch of missions, you do all these stat things as well. There's also conquests again, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. But those are a ton of different programs that they have within Diamond Dynasty that fit again in Team Affinity and or the season reward path. These are always cool. We have the monthly programs as well. That's always a huge hit with a lot of people that they liked. So this should be really cool. Make sure you guys do your programs. They're pretty easy to do. Sometimes they can be a little labor intensive, but again, they help you get a lot of stubs, a lot of rewards, so you definitely want to do them. Now let's go ahead and move over to the single player modes. There's 4 different player modes you guys can play on offline is what it's considered because you're playing against a computer. The first one we have is mini seasons. Pretty much you build a team and you try to get through an entire season. I think you play 28 games. So yeah, 28 regular season games. They're all 3-inning games. They're all against the CPU, but essentially you're just trying to win a championship. It's kind of like a condensed franchise, but you use your Diamond Dynasty team. They have a bunch of different things and rewards with that, so it's not a bad thing to do at all. Then you have Conquest, which Conquest has been in the game for a long time. It's been the exact same, which kind of gets really boring and repetitive, but it is a pretty simple thing to do. I should have a video on this as well. So essentially, if you guys ever play the game at Risk, you're trying to take over all the different areas or territories within this map. So what you do is you're going to start here, you're going to attack, and then obviously they'll do the same thing. And then once you get through the attack phase, you'll go to the steal fans phase, which then you can play any of these strongholds. You just click A and then play the strongholds. You try to take their fans away. So then you have the reinforce phase, and that way you can put your players wherever you want to put them. And then last you have the attack phase again, where you go and try to attack all these different little strongholds. You're just trying to pretty much take over the entire map, have conquest, and then you get a bunch of rewards from it. If you look at the rewards on this one, you get a jumbo pack, Ball's a habit. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff. I'll have an entire video going like really in depth on conquest and how you guys should do it. But again, it's another mode where you guys can get a ton of stuff and you get to play on the computer, so it's not too crazy, not too hectic. There were a lot of conquest maps in this year's game as well, so be on the lookout for all of that. Then we're gonna go over to Showdown. So Showdown essentially is you try to draft a team and then you beat all these different bosses that you go up against. It's pretty easy to do. You just try to draft a team. You'll go against these different bosses. So let me go through this draft really quick. Let me just click through here and I'll show you guys really quick once I get back into it. So like I said, you go ahead and you draft a team. You guys don't ever have to worry about pitching. All you gotta do is worry about hitters in this one. You get these different perks as well you can add that make your team that much better. And then all you do is you play against a moment. So this one is against Chris Martin. You're entered a tie game and you gotta take the lead before recording 12 outs. Again, these are not too difficult to do. In the beginning, for sure, they'll be a lot easier as well. So again, another good thing to get rewards. They're pretty easy to do, not too time inclusive, and should be a good thing for you guys to be doing. And then last, you have play versus CPU, which is exactly as it sounds. If you guys just want to go ahead and play against the CPU, you can set the difficulty, who you guys want to play against. A lot of the reason why a lot of people play against CPU is to grind stat missions. Now, we'll see how that ends up being in 24, but essentially, I only play these games if I had to grind stats with certain players or whatnot. So a lot of times, I don't really see a lot of people playing this, but you can do it as much as you guys want to. So let's go ahead and go over to the online modes. Now, these should all be the same as far as we know in 24. But they have a rank tab. So this is where you build your squad like we showed in the beginning. You play 9-inning games against other people. You can either do this by yourself or you can play with friends in co-op, which is a really cool ad that they had last year. So thank God they had that because it is really fun. But pretty much what you're trying to do is you're trying to grind, make it to the top of the leaderboard. So you're going to go over to here. They have, if you get to 1200, which is very hard to do, you're trying to make it to World Series. So you get the World Series reward or the pack. Again, this is towards the end of the game, so all these cards will be really good. But it's a really fun thing to do, especially if you guys are trying to use your guys' cards that you guys are getting throughout Diamond Dynasty. The difficulty does get harder as you get up towards World Series. A World Series is played on Legend, or 900 above is played on Legend, which is a very hard difficulty to play on. They also have the program as well. So again, a bunch of missions, a bunch of stuff. That way you guys can go ahead and get the rewards as well. So you guys actually don't have to make World Series in order to get these rewards, which is really cool. But another way to play the game, you don't ever have to win every single game if you don't have to. That way you guys can still do the program and get that done. Now, the thing that I play the most is Battle Royale. We love Battle Royale, but Battle Royale will be different in MLB The Show 24. So instead of having to go 12-0, you have to go 10-0. So they boosted down the flawless. So essentially, like I said, you draft a team and you try to go 12-0. Right now, it is the Forever program, so there's a bunch of different stuff in here, but it's all diamonds too, so it's kind of weird right now. It won't be like that. It's like a certain amount of diamond cards, gold, silver, bronze, and common cards. And then you're just trying to go 12-0, and or you're just trying to finish off the program. Again, it's just like the World Series one or the Ranked Season one, where you just have to do all these different missions in order to get the pack or to get the player. So that's a fun little thing to do. I play that a lot. That's what I'm known for. Battle Royale is my favorite thing. Then we can go over to the Events tab. Events is kind of like Battle Royale and Ranked Seasons had a baby, and then you put a team together and you just kind of play however you want to. Usually it's like 3-inning games, which is kind of the battle royale part, but then you get to choose who you guys get to put on your team. They will have restrictions and whatnot. Obviously there's rewards for this as well too. So right now they have a Moonshot Forever event going on right now. So use any batters and you have to use common pitchers. They have the overall types you can do. They have the how long the games are and the difficulty as well. Again, this is kind of like a more leisure place to play MLB The Show. This is probably where I would start if I were a beginner. If you guys are a beginner in MLB The Show, if you guys are trying to get into online play, this is where I would start. This is like where it's the least sweaty, kind of more just like having fun and whatnot. I would definitely stay away from ranked seasons right away because that will be very tough. I would go events, battle royale, and then to ranked seasons once you build your team and you can actually compete. But events is a really fun thing to do, kind of a leisure thing to play on. You also have play with friends, so if you want to play with your friends, obviously just hit them up right there. Fun little thing right there. And then casual is essentially ranked, but there's no rewards tied to it. It's kind of like playing with your friends. It's kind of, I don't know. I don't see many people play casual. But yeah, those are all of the online modes within Diamond Dynasty. Now, as you guys are working your way through Diamond Dynasty, you're going to have an inventory. Now, this is where you have all of the player cards, equipment, perks, all the good stuff that you guys are trying to pretty much get along the way. So you have all these different player cards right here. Obviously, I have every single card in the game right now because it is the end of the game. So these are the live series cards you guys have that you guys will be earning. There's also all these flashback cards or legends, depending on if the player is retired or not. And this is pretty much where you want to try to get every card in the game and you try to build the best team you can. Now, there are different things like collections tied to this as well, which we will go over here in just a second. But essentially, this is where you're going to keep all of your Diamond Dynasty cards or cards you're going to use within MLB The Show. Now, there's also going to be equipment and perks. Now, equipment might be a little bit different this year because caps or creative players are not going to be in Diamond Dynasty, I think, for like the first time ever. So I'm not sure if equipment will be part of Diamond Dynasty and or perks. That'll be interesting. But again, it's just something you equip to your Road to the Show player if you're doing that. Sponsorships, again, are through franchise. I'm not sure whether considered under Diamond Dynasty, so you guys don't need to worry about that at all either. There's a bunch of unlockables as well. If you guys want to get jerseys, different stadium sounds, a bunch of stuff, the flawless rewards, all this good stuff is right here. You guys can unlock those as you guys are playing throughout Diamond Dynasty. You have all the stadiums within Diamond Dynasty as well. So you'll have the Legend stadiums, and then they actually just give you all of the Major League stadiums now. You didn't used to get those, but now you get all the Major League stadiums off the rip. And then you have all these different Legend stadiums as well, or stadiums that aren't around anymore. And then lastly, you have packs. So if you guys have a pack, click here. You can open it up really quick. Oh, look at that. I got it. Diamond Duo is pack 36. What can we get? No diamonds, but that's like where you guys will go if you guys have any packs. Obviously, packs are a fun thing to do. You guys have probably opened up packs in any other sports game or any other game. Packs are always a joy. Unless you're not pulling diamonds, then it's not fun. Then, like I alluded to earlier, we have the collections tab. So this is pretty much where you're trying to collect all of these different cards to get even better rewards. So off the rip, you'll have a starter collection, which is pretty simple to do. It's try to collect all these little things, and you get a little bit of a bonus from that. And then the biggest thing that is within Diamond Dynasty will be this live series collection. So you have to collect every single MLB live series card in order to get the overall collection, which in this year's game, or in 23, was Derek Jeter. They also had Sammy Sosa for the NL and Mark McGwire for the AL. Now, we don't know who these cards are right now as I'm recording this, but usually it's a new legend, and they're essentially supposed to be the best cards in the game at that time. 23 is a little bit different because there were 99s off the rip, and they weren't very good, but you definitely want to grab this card at some point. Jeter was an absolute menace in this year's game. I had batting 500 almost, parallel 5. Like, he was very, very good. So hopefully it'll be another good collection card like that. Then you have Team Affinity again. We talked about it a little bit earlier. There's just different little collections you guys can do. Set collections was another thing as well. So pretty much you can collect all these different things to get all these different rewards. Now, these do take some time and or stubs, so just keep that in mind. You're not going to get every collection done right away, especially live series. I think opening night, if you actually put money into the game, it's like $2,000. So I don't do that. I've been no money spent for 3 years now, but some people do that, and they have a bonkers team in the beginning of the game. But that's where you guys will get all your collections done. Highly suggest doing that. And the exchanges, I don't really do much with exchanges. I know there were ways back in the day where you exchange cards and you actually make a profit off of that. I think they got rid of that. But if you guys ever do 12-0, you guys will exchange those over here. If you guys go, I guess it'll be 10-0 now with the floss being different. But you don't really do much with the exchange section. And then lastly, you have the shop tab. So if you guys were to ever buy a card or sell a card, it'll all be right here on the marketplace. So if you're looking right here, we have David Parker just off the rip right here. If you guys wanted to buy him, you can go here. What I highly suggest doing is you don't actually buy him for 70,000 stubs. You make a buy order, and if you see the sell right there is at 30,000. So if I make a buy order for 31,000, I can click that. Boom. Then if somebody wants to do the sell now, they can sell it to me for 31,000 instead of me paying 70,000. So make sure you guys try to do that as much as you can, because it can save a lot of stubs. Right here, there's a 40,000 stub difference almost. So you guys want to definitely do it. It'll help you guys save stubs. And if you guys want to go ahead and sell something, you can go over here. I can either sell it right now for 42,215, or I can do a sell order for 92,495, and hopefully I sell it through that. One thing there is to note right here, though, there is a 10% tax on if you sell anything. So if I sold it for 93,000, I would lose 10% of that off the rip, and then the next of that will go into your pocket or into your stubs. So keep that in mind as you guys are selling stuff. Again, we already talked about packs. You can either buy packs off the marketplace right here. I highly suggest not buying packs, because it usually is a waste of stubs. Granted, every once in a while, you'll get lucky. You'll pull something very, very good, which I hope you guys all do. But this is where you guys can go ahead and buy your packs if you guys want to. And then also, if you guys ever do buy stubs, it'll take you right here, and you guys can buy all the stubs you guys want to. I don't buy stubs, but if you guys want to, you guys can definitely do that. All right, so that is our beginner's guide to MLB The Show 24 for Diamond Dynasty. If you guys have any questions, put it down below for me. I'll be checking them out for you guys and answering anything that I can. Hopefully you guys are ready for 24. Hope you guys enjoy it. It should be a fantastic year. I'm very, very excited for it. But good luck in Diamond Dynasty, and hopefully you get a lot of 12-0s, 10-0s, and or you guys make World Series and make all the subs you guys want to. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.